I'm looking. I mean, I'm looking at different. It's even different icons and everything.
Oh, geez.
Well, it's not too bad. Did I just get really dark in here, or is that okay?
No, that's good.
Yeah, because I'm getting glare off my other window. So there's a window right over here.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, yeah. Everything's backwards.
over
Oh,
here.
I didn't put my lower third on.
Ah,
I
put
was
your
so
lower
busy
third on.
talking to you.
Oh, sorry.
And I don't have a lower third, so.
Yeah, well, you never know. At some point with the iPad, who knows? They might when they
Yeah.
redo it again. There are so many bugs in iOS 8.
Oh, it's awful. It's my iPad is basically crap.
Well,
So,
when I can't, I lost my oh crap! I lost my lower third now. That go. Yeah, you got yours. I've lost mine.
Well, I've got it, but oh, there it is. Turn it around.
Get mine back. All I did was, jeez, never mind.
Well, this isn't even the right tagline.
There it is.
Oh, it's all right. I'm keeping it.
Keep it. No, what was I saying? My iPad is just, I can get my work email on my iPad. I can't respond.
Oh, that's weird.
yeah, it's or like Joanne, I'll be doing something and it just everything just stops.
Oh, that hasn't happened to me.
And
That has not happened.
I have to just leave it alone, and then the screen will go blank,
Mm-hmm.
and then it reboots,
Oh,
and then it's fine.
oh wow.
But yeah, I don't, you would think that they would have these things figured out, but
Yeah, that's a major bug. Hopefully tomorrow when 8.1 comes out, that will straighten a few things out. I hope.
yeah.
Unless it breaks Apple Pay and I can't
Yeah.
pay with my phone anymore.
Yeah.
I want to try this so badly.
Yeah, but every place doesn't have it.
They said there would be enough starting tomorrow that
Ah,
we'd be able to use it. So
Okay.
I'm dying to see if that's going to happen. But
Okay.
anyway, this is tomorrow now because
oh, we're live. All right, here we
we're
go.
live, and it is Monday. So we've for those of you who are Doctor Who fans, we've walked into our TARDIS and moved a day forward. I have no idea what that means. I just know enough about Doctor Who to know that they get in a booth and they go somewhere. That's about it. I've never
Yeah,
watched
me
Doctor
too.
Who in my life. I'm not a nerd in that respect. Okay, so we all ready?
Ready?
Hey, then let's begin.
Hello? Are you ready? Then we'll begin.
It's beginning to feel like autumn in our part of the world. I don't know what's happening in yours, but we're ready to give another week a go. This is Monday Morning Catholic, episode number 43.
6:30 Monday morning. I'm here hiding in my bed. A song plays on my alarm clock as I cover up my head. Somewhere in the distance, I remember yesterday singing hallelujah, full of wonder.
Yes.
Praise.
Yesterday everyone was singing Hallelujah, but it's Monday morning again. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Monday Morning Catholic Podcast. I am your host and moderator, Joanne Mercier, Director of Religious Education at Saints Martha and Mary Parish in Lakeville, Massachusetts, even though I live in Rhode Island. And again, I have two of our favorite panelists with me, because I'm now going to start saying Nancy isn't one of our favorite panelists. Kidding, Nancy. But I do have with me Linda Reed, Director of Music at St. Thomas Church in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well for a Monday morning, thank you.
And the weekend was...
The weekend was fine, actually.
Good, good. And way down there in Bristol, Rhode Island, we have Steve Romano, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish. Good morning, Steve. How was your weekend?
Good. Good morning. My weekend was fine. No complaints.
No
No
complaints.
complaints.
No one would listen.
I'm at least. I'm glad that the humidity is gone because
Yeah.
that was a tough few days we had.
Yeah, we here in our little corner of New England have had almost summer weather since September, and it hasn't gone away. And finally, I think it has departed, and now we should be in the cold, grips of autumn. Or
Well, I
cool
heard there's a frost warning for tomorrow.
frost warnings. Yes,
Yeah.
we know that fall has finally arrived in southeastern New England when we get the frost warning.
Right.
And that means every plant that's been outside being happy in the sun is all going to go, ew.
Yeah. I got to go bring mine in.
Yeah, we only have them in the ground, so that means another week or two my husband will be pulling them out of the ground because they'll be dead.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you have a frost in New England, folks.
That's right.
It's done. But it'll shake the rest of the leaves off the trees. So pretty soon it's going to look pretty stark around here. But we're going to try to brighten up our days. And we're here again gathering to look at the previous weekend's liturgies and trying to make some sense out of all that we see, hear, and sometimes smell. But we're not in that season yet, so everything smells about the same when you go to church unless they're cooking something in the basement. So grab your favorite cup. It's water. And join us as we try not to take this podcast off the rails, which is difficult for the three of us. Nancy's usually the voice of reason, and she's been on vacation. So hopefully she'll be back with us next week. And if she has been away, that means we still haven't gotten around to the wedding podcast that we've been trying to put together.
Just getting all four of us to get together is not easy.
Right, because that's one that we'll do we can actually do on a different day. And not, hone it around Monday. So we're kind of hoping that we can get that put together this week is a bad week for me.
And me too.
Yeah, because I have, this is our week to do Generations of Faith. So I'm out straight until Saturday morning.
Well, I'm doing Generations of Family as my brother and my sister-in-law are coming to visit me.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
That's a nice thing. You want that to be a nice experience, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay.
It is. It
All
is.
right. So
I just have a boring week, so I guess I'm the odd man out. So.
have a boring week. Okay. But we promise, and we keep promising it because we want to keep letting you know we haven't forgotten. Okay? Just like we haven't forgotten about that contest we talked about 2 weeks ago. I just haven't put the particulars in order to be able to do it correctly. So I won't do something. Hey, this podcast was an idea for 4 years. And it took until I said, until I can get it right, I'm not doing anything with it. So it's the same thing with the contest. Until I get it right, until we know we can actually pull this off, I'm going to keep saying, all right, let's see if this works. Because how do you pick? Do you pick out of a hat? Do you, so, and then how do you get them to show up? So it's one of those things where we have to get the logistics of it put together once we do, or come up with something different, because I do like contests and I do like fabulous prizes. So whatever we can try to do, we haven't forgotten. So
right now we don't have either one.
Right.
A year's supply of canned tuna.
Yeah.
We're just losers at this point. Okay, we're working on it, but we're just losers. But here's something we don't lose at, because all of a sudden, after how many weeks, we finally have feedback coming in at a regular pace. So that brings us to our first segment. How does it look from your side of the world? And I still can't get this clip to fix itself. So, and we have 2 pieces of feedback this week.
Excellent.
Okay, one from our side of the world, actually, and in an attempt for full disclosure, Bernadette from Lakeville happens to work with me. So that's
Okay.
full disclosure. Okay,
So does that really count or no?
it has to count because she actually listens to it. I never twisted her arm on it. It was one of my other staff members mentioned it
Ah,
to her and said, Joanne has a podcast. So she started listening to it. So this is, and she did this of her own accord, didn't tell me ahead of time. So when I got it, I went, well, at least I have to say, in full disclosure,
well, there you go. Good for you, Bernadette. Thank you.
yes, we'll take it from wherever we can get it. And Bernadette writes, I was not at my own parish for Sunday Mass. This was last week. I don't think I'm calling her out for that. Father John knows that she has another residence in South Yarmouth on the Cape. So they attend a different church when they're down there. And she goes on to say, as you mentioned, the deacon gave the homily. Another deacon, I'm happy that deacons are giving the homilies.
Yay.
I really am. Okay, so I never wanted to sound like, oh, gee, a deacon gave a homily. No,
No.
they're prepared for this. It's part of their ministry, and some of them, just like priests, are very good at it. So she goes on, it must have been a children's mass because the deacon called all the children up to the altar. Usually do that. After telling the children, Jesus tells a parable, he asked the children, what is a parable? So after a few answers that are not quite right, as children are wont to do, he gave a definition. He explained to the children and adults that a parable is an allegorical representation of something real in life or nature with a moral. I hope he didn't use the word allegorical with children.
With children, yeah.
Understand what allegorical means. Adults chuckled, and the kids weren't sure what to make of it.
No,
No, don't use that word. He repeated the definition several times. Okay, draw the point home. The deacon then started talking about the parable. The king was having a wedding feast and invited guests, and they refused to come. And the deacon asked who the king represented, and of course, they'll always answer Jesus
yes.
before they'll answer God. So he explained that the king represents God the Father and the Son represents Jesus. And then he asked how they would felt if they were having a party and invited friends and no one came. Well, there's something that children understand. What happens if you had a party and no one came? Well, you'd feel sad. Or
That
whatever.
still happens to me sometimes. Yeah.
Hey, happens here too. Okay. So the king then invited everyone. All people were included, and the wedding feast represents heaven, and everyone is invited to heaven. And the wedding garments represent entrance into heaven. Okay.
Okay.
Talked a little bit about garments last week when we were doing ours.
Yes.
Since everyone is invited into heaven, why isn't everyone there? Not everyone pays attention to the invitation. If you don't pay attention to the invitation, then you will not be accepted, like the person who wasn't dressed properly for the wedding feast. The deacon concluded with all people should pay attention to the invitation and live good lives, obey your parents, etc. This was aimed directly at the children.
Obviously.
Obviously. I enjoyed the homily, and I think he kept the children's attention by asking questions. Well, that is one of the best devices you can do with them, is to ask the questions, because then at least you find out who's awake. Then if somebody gives a really cute answer, it makes the parents laugh. So, this was a good one. At one point, he had asked if anyone had been to a wedding. One of the children responded, yes. When the deacon asked whose wedding it was, the child boldly said, my parents, I was in mom's tummy. Ba-dum-bum.
Yes.
Yeah. Parents, always a good thing not to tell your children that.
Yeah.
Because they will repeat it. You might think it was funny, but gee. And it's at each time he wanted to ask another question, he seemed a little bit more nervous.
I guess so.
And then she goes on to say, the deacon did a great job with the gospel, but I don't remember him saying anything about the first or second reading. When you're dealing with children, you don't have to. The gospel is about the only thing you should really hone in on. And in fact, for masses with children, you only have to proclaim the gospel. But that's in a mass where there's 98% children.
Yeah, like a school mass.
Like a school mass, you can do
Yeah.
that. You don't have to do all the readings. You can just do the gospel. It's prescribed in some rubric that I think is still works. You know, she likes the podcast, and it's nice to hear what other homilies are about. So Bernadette, thank you, and I'll see you later this week. Because we do work together. And then this one from far away in New Orleans, or
All
New
right.
Louisiana. And believe it or not, he says, "Hi, my name is Earl."
From New Orleans.
There was a television program by the name of My Name is Earl.
Earl.
Now, again, we don't use last names, so don't, and we try not to say pigeonhole you too much to. But he is a cantor. He's a choir director and cantor in a parish in New Orleans. And I was going to give the name, but again, I'm being cautious because I don't know how much our feedback people want to be known to the rest of the world. I've been listening to your show for the last several months, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Well, thank you. We enjoy
Thank you.
hearing that. The insights you have helped me in gaining, your insights have helped me gain a broader perspective of our faith. Okay, thank you. As I listened to your last podcast, I recall the homily that Father H.L. gave. I do not know who this person is. His homilies are usually very brief but to the point. This was where he explained that the wedding garment was usually provided by the family hosting the wedding, and that Jesus was telling us that we are all invited to the banquet, eternal life in heaven, but we must prepare ourselves for it. Everybody really got into that garment.
Yes.
Yikes. Everybody was doing the garment thing.
Yes, yes.
And then he goes on, I was also interested in the conversation about the Gloria at Mass. Yes, we spent 15 minutes on the Gloria. We had to. It was just too good to pass up.
Right.
So because and I even had to cut out during that, if you remember.
Yes. And we could have gone on if you stayed.
Oh, I know it.
We always sing the Gloria at Sunday and important feasts. We are currently using the Gloria from the Mass of Renewal. Nancy uses that in Tiverton.
Mm-hmm.
I use the through composed version, but others use the refrain version. I like the through composed. If you can do it through composed Gloria, especially this translation now, it really does work.
Yeah.
For really special masses like Christmas and Easter, I use the Gloria from the New Mass for John Carroll. There you go.
This is what we used to, Earl.
Yep.
No.
That you just made Linda very happy. Anything
probably Michael Jonkis too.
Anything by Father Michael Jonkis.
Yes. It's a marvelous Gloria. I love it. I'm glad you guys like it too.
Yes. Again, I thank you for the work you're doing in your apostolate. Keep up the good work and look forward to hearing what you have to say this week. We're looking forward to what we have to say this week. Because again, but thank you, Earl, and thank you, Bernadette, for sending us feedback. And it's really important because this gives us some kind of a barometer on how we're doing. So you're telling us that you really like that part of what we're doing. So that's good. I'm not hearing anything else. I'm hearing we like the homily stuff and we like the ritual stuff.
Mm.
Okay, which tells me beware not to do so much of the other stuff. Unless somebody else out there says, oh no, I'd rather hear you talk about, Catholics in the news or technology. I can talk about technology all day.
Yeah.
But
in which case, Stephen, we can go have a cup of coffee. Because I know nothing about technology.
Yes, you do. You're using it. So if you're using technology, you know something about it.
Well, I can talk on the phone in my car now.
I teach her one trick, and that's...
Yeah.
Teach her one trick. And you're fine. But, again, we really appreciate your feedback more than you know, because, again, it gives us a chance to retool things. If you want to give us more feedback, and you know who you are out there, come on. Some of you who do have opinions, and we know you do, you can leave it in the comment box at mondaymorningcatholic.net, which is the website. You can send it to us in an email like these folks did, mondaymorningcatholic@gmail.com, and I do get that Gmail on my iPad right now, as opposed to my work email. You can add a comment to anything that we put on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic, or you can call the voice feedback line at 774-955-0659. We are getting some feedback off of that, and I'm writing it up instead of using the actual voice, because if I don't have your permission, I'm not going to do it. So if you don't mind me doing it, say that when you're leaving your voice feedback. I don't mind you using this, and then I will, because I know other people who do use it, but they do ask first, and we will be polite and ask first. Okay, so since they're ready to hear what we have to say,
Do you hear what I hear?
let's move right into Do You Hear What I Hear for the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We each have a homily because I ended up subbing this weekend. Although next weekend I will be back in the parish because I have the 8:30.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, she puts my husband on for the 10:30, and I get 8:30. Not the most wide awake person at 8:30 in the morning.
No, me.
At least it's not 7:30.
Yes.
No, I hear you. So this week we were back in Isaiah again, and this time the Lord is speaking with Cyrus, and he is right, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, keep saying, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, please.
No, Cyrus was there.
Cyrus was there, okay.
And we're not talking about Miley Cyrus. We're talking
No.
King Cyrus of Persia.
Yes, thank you. Well, maybe he should speak to Miley Cyrus and say, there is no other.
Yeah.
So get on, stop doing what you're doing and grow up. Oh, did I say that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I did. So he's trying to, again, I don't know the whole, put it into context for us, Linda.
Cyrus turns out to be a tool of the Lord's work, even though Cyrus is a Persian and doesn't know the Lord.
Right.
But the Lord is assuring him that he will clear the paths for him, open the doors for him, unbar the gates, because Cyrus is going to be the instrument through which Israel is going to be allowed back into their homeland.
Right. And he's probably going, who, me?
Yeah. What?
You're not my God. I don't understand.
The Lord is, over and over again, beautifully read by your husband today, as a matter of fact, assuring Cyrus over and over again that I am the Lord. There is no other.
Exactly. Then we moved on to Psalm 96. Now again, this is a psalm used in a different season. Yeah. This one would be Christmas, but with an alternate refrain. Give the Lord glory and honor. We did,
yes. We gave the Lord glory and honor this morning.
Okay, did you use the normal Christmas?
No, I used the refrain. I used the Haas-Hogan setting.
Right.
And they have written in alternate refrains for their 98 and their 96.
Right, which I really appreciate when they do that.
I do too.
Well, because at least it's something familiar to folk.
Yes.
Okay, but used in a different place with a different refrain. What did you do, Steve?
Right now we're doing. Are
you doing a common psalm?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I just drew I know it. I just drew a blank.
You just did it.
I did it 4 times. 4 times. Oh, we're doing Psalm 27.
Oh, okay. The Lord is my light and my salvation.
Yeah. And I picked and I sort of went with that one because I liked the overall theme, picking up on some of the first readings of have confidence and don't be afraid, that type of thing.
Huh?
So.
And
Yeah.
that's why we have common Psalms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We did whatever. I was subbing this weekend, and we did whatever was in the book that they have, and they use World Library. So it was a basic refrain with chanted
Okay.
verse. So, but again, it's nice to be able to hear different things in different places,
Yeah.
and how people, and how, you know, if you've got the Christmas stuff and you want to sort of give a foretaste, you can use it. If you want to use something else, then that's fine too. 1 Thessalonians 1 was our second reading, and it's nice that Paul reminds us our gospel did not come to you in word alone,
Yes.
because it came to you in a person. It's
And
not
with great conviction.
a page. So that sort of, again, it's kind of ties in with the Isaiah. So it wasn't too far afield. It wasn't like it was just out there, as some of those second readings can be. And then we get to Matthew's Gospel, we're in chapter 22, and I'm going to use the old language
Yes.
here because that's the one we all grew up with. It's our infamous render unto Caesar what is Caesar's,
Yes.
and render unto God what is God's.
Probably
However-
one of the most famous quotes of the Bible.
Yes, it is, and especially during tax season.
Yes.
And
You're
that is,
married to an accountant.
well, as I am married to an accountant and tax preparer, yes, I am.
Yes.
Full disclosure here. But the deacon who gave the homily, I heard, started down that road.
All right.
Yeah, so it wasn't too far afield. You want me to go first? Because mine was short.
Go ahead.
I never get to go first. So
Go ahead. You go first.
he used a good quote in the beginning. He said, Will Rogers used to say, income tax has made more liars out of people than golf has. You know, of course, my husband is also a golfer, so this is, you know, he works with figures and is a golfer. And that we do like to hear homilies that make us feel good, but that he really likes, as a homilist, to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. And that's something we've heard some of our homilists say before. In this particular gospel, of course, that the Pharisees are trying to trick Jesus, because a good Jew would never have paid homage to Caesar. They couldn't. And since the coin that they were using to pay their tax was stamped with Caesar's picture, and, you know, was a little bit, you know, little idolatry here going on, they're saying, well, you know, Jews can't do that. But the thing is, if the Jews didn't do that, then they wouldn't be doing their due diligence. So they were trying to trap Jesus. And what Jesus is saying to them is, well, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give, but the language, instead of render is the big one that we all have heard all our life. Our new translation says, it changes it to repay.
Repay.
Which is a better meaning for us. And usually it is easier to, you know, to repay the government, even if you don't want to, than to repay God. Because, you know, what we don't understand is that what we repay to the government is balanced in their favor. We all know the government gets more than
Comes out ahead. Yeah.
But what we repay to God is definitely in our favor.
Ah.
Because we get so much from God, we can never repay him. That was the bottom line. And when you repay when you love your neighbor as you also love God. That's one of the ways of repaying. So, and what belongs to God is all encompassing. There are no separate parts.
Mm.
So this thing about repaying, you know, giving to one, giving to the other, you're never going to be able to repay God for everything that you have. It was very short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
And however, I was in this particular church because I know the pastor there very, very well. He's an ex-employer of mine. And I was waiting so long saying, oh, God, good, I'm going to hear a homily from him. I haven't heard one in 2 years. And the deacon said it.
Yeah.
So not that it was very good. I was just hoping. See, that God does that to me. It's like, why do you mock me, O Lord? Here I was waiting.
Maybe you weren't meant to hear a homily from this person this time.
No, I wasn't. I was meant to hear this one, which I thought, you're never going to be able to repay God for everything He's given to you.
That's true.
You need to try, and the best way to repay Him is to repay. Be good to your neighbor. So that worked for me.
That's good.
Next, the one who's writing. Steve, what do you got?
That's me. I'm making notes. Yes, sorry.
You're making notes.
The one who's writing.
I'm trying to decipher the notes I made from my homily this morning.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I do it on an iPad. So.
Yeah. Father Zeno took a different spin.
Okay.
And he said, he honed in the same thing on, that famous line from the end of the gospel, and he said, it's definitely a challenging gospel. We like to hear the ones that make us all feel fuzzy and warm, and this isn't one of them. And he said, yeah. His interpretation is it has really nothing to do with the separation of church and state.
Mm.
He took the angle of carefully examining it and see how it will apply to our lives. And he said, and he brought up, Joanne, what you mentioned that I think your deacon mentioned, that on the coin was Caesar's image.
Right.
And so the Jews wouldn't have carried that because it just went against them.
Right.
So he said, picture the scene, and out comes the coin from one of the Pharisees, So he said, but the coin, it's got Caesar's image on it, so fine, you give it, you repay what you need to repay to Caesar, but because it had his likeness on it, in other words, okay? We are stamped with the likeness of God on us.
Ah, okay.
And so our very lives, living them justly and as best we can, are repayment to God.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, yes, there is place for government, but we must never sell ourselves out to the government, ignoring our beliefs. And he said that and he kept repeating it, that we are the image and likeness of God, so that's our stamp. Mm-hmm. Just as if the coin had Caesar's stamp on it. And he said, I'm trying to see here what else I wrote. Oh, he said our allegiance to the government is always going to go against our allegiance to God, because they don't mutually exist very well.
Right.
So he said the government has a rightful place, but we also have to acknowledge that we are, as children of God, that Jesus has a rightful place. And then, cleverly, as he is clever, he said, so when and if you vote, keep that in mind.
Oh.
And that was the end of his homily.
Yikes.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The deacon where I was did not say anything about voting. And I will say, to those of you who may not be aware, Rhode Island is in the middle of a large voting issues and people right about now, and it's getting hot. The next 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of this will be extremely hot.
Yeah.
So if you're anywhere near Rhode Island, it's going to get done. And Massachusetts, too, has a very hotly contested governor's race. So both places do, and they're bringing in the big guns. I heard Hillary was coming this week.
Yes, I heard Hillary was coming, yes.
Stay home for all I care.
There was Obama was supposed to be at Rick on Thursday.
Oh, don't get me started.
Well, he did. He was supposed to be, but
Yeah,
because of the Ebola thing, he had to pull out.
Oh well.
Hmm.
Oh well. So, did our pastor talk about voting?
He certainly did.
No, I heard.
He certainly did. First of all, it's one of the very few homilies that he's mentioned all three readings.
Again? He's on a roll.
Yeah, he's on a roll, let me tell you. I think he knows that I'm talking about him in this podcast.
Oh, I know he is. Because he made mention of it to me once, so I
Yes,
kind of know he is.
yes. So, he started out by giving a quote from the first reading. I am the Lord, there is no other. And then he followed it by giving a quote from the Gospel. Give to Caesar, he used these words. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. And he says, at first glance, the first reading from Isaiah and the reading from Matthew seem to contradict one another until we look closer and realize that Jesus is simply saying that some things belong to Caesar or to the government, and that the most important things need to belong to God.
Right.
And then he ended that paragraph, and started a new one. If you were ever on the show Jeopardy, and it's Final Jeopardy, and the subject is the New Testament, and the question is asked, what is the earliest writing of Christian scriptures? The answer would be, and he turned to my husband and said, and my son, and said, Pat and Tim, you can't answer.
He always does that.
I know. And nobody knew, of course. And he said, today's second reading. The letter to the Thessalonians is viewed by scripture scholars as the earliest New Testament writing.
Right, it's earlier than Mark.
Yes. St. Paul praised the community there for accepting the gospel that came not only in words, but in power and the Holy Spirit, and with much conviction. And it takes a lot of conviction to remind ourselves that there is only one Lord and God, and that God is more important than Caesar.
That's right.
We often say that God comes first in our lives, but do our lives really reflect that? In a society that promotes happiness, and he kind of took off on a tangent of, television commercials that promote happiness. If you just buy this, you'll be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It doesn't matter how many possessions you have, you'll never be happy. You can't accumulate that much to put Caesar ahead of God. So then, again, he took off from that little springboard onto to be a Catholic Christian means that we have to live in the paradox of being in the world, but not of the world. And while we pledge our allegiance to the flag, our first allegiance is our allegiance to Christ and our allegiance to one another, willingness to carry one another's crosses. And he says he's always fascinated in election years that candidates who wrap themselves in the Catholic flag.
Oh, here we go.
Simply wrap themselves in the Catholic flag, but do not uphold certain tenets of Catholic doctrine. He didn't go into particulars. He just threw that out there. They abandon clear teaching of the church to court votes. And that he said every candidate he's talking about our particular race.
Right.
All the candidates are talking about, I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to create jobs. He goes, how's the Secretary of State going to create jobs?
Usually doesn't.
Yeah. But anyway, he said, wouldn't it be refreshing to have somebody get up and say, I'm going to make it my business to have every person in my constituency, from conception to natural end of life, live in the most dignified and fully human way. He said, wouldn't that be refreshing to hear? Although he said you'll never hear it because that won't get anybody votes.
Nope.
So he said we have to pray about the choices we make. It's not always easy because no one candidate encompasses all that we Catholics believe in. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, and not every Catholic believes in everything that we Catholics believe in.
Exactly.
But, we have to allow our informed conscience to assist us in the voting booth so that Paul's words to the Thessalonians would also be the words he speaks to us. We give thanks to God always for all of you, unceasingly, calling to mind your work of faith and labor of love.
Very nice.
Yeah. He tied a lot of stuff in very well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Man, so we've got 2 in our area going for the voting part of this, and 1 definitely was just sticking with the monetary.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how this played out in the rest of. I'm sure there were other, races going on politically. But I'm curious to hear if anybody else's homilist went down any of these roads. And it's funny because as we get closer to this election, I guess they need to do it this weekend and next weekend. Because the weekend after, the one right before, All Souls.
Yeah, really.
A lot of places are not going to be talking politics on All Souls.
No, right.
All Souls. So I'm hoping it's just going to be this week and next week. Probably this was probably the best one of all of them to do it with.
Our pastor has said both last weekend and this weekend, in context of a homily, I am not telling you who to vote for. He said, I'm making that very clear. I am not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you that you are a Catholic and you need to take that with you into the voting booth.
And I think that's all he really can say.
Yes.
Because when you've got things going on down in Houston, did you hear about that this week? I'll jump there for a second.
Oh, yeah, I saw that about they were
just going to
requesting
take the dive right now.
No, what did I miss?
We're going to take the dive. And
Okay.
The mayor of Houston, who apparently is a lesbian,
Oh, my.
that the homilies of 5 subpoenaed the homilies of 5 pastors in town.
Geez.
Right.
Whoa.
And I guess it was such an outrage that she had to retract. You can't do that. You can't do that. We still live in a free country, folks.
Yeah.
I don't care what your agenda is. We still live in a free country.
Really?
Right. What was she looking for? Slander?
Yeah.
No, you can't even do that because there is a separation of church and state.
Wow.
But Joanne, what was it? I read the article. What is it that was it that she thought that they preached against some legislation or something, or what was it?
I would have to go back and look at that because it was a couple of days ago.
Okay.
To be honest, I did not prepare that for this forum.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't go down that wormhole, and we did.
Yeah, you let us.
I know I did. But it's one of those things, and I can look it up quickly because it is now germane to what we're talking about. But we have to. That is not the kind of thing that you want to
Oh my God.
have happening all the time.
Oh.
So let's see. That would be under news. Scales black controversy of. Okay, that's what it is. Narrow sermon subpoena request.
Whoa.
Yeah, subpoenaing. Yeah, that's just
not right.
at all. Okay, let's see. Follow through on her pledge. Ooh, hold on. Pledge to narrow the scope of subpoenas sent to local pastors who led opposition to the city's equal rights ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
Still can't do
You can't do that.
you still, and it said, though the subpoena's new wording removes any mention of sermons, a reference that created a firestorm among Christian conservative groups. Hello.
Yeah.
The mayor acknowledged the new subpoenas do not explicitly preclude sermons from being produced. We don't need to intrude on matters of faith to have equal rights in Houston, and it was never the intention of the city of Houston to intrude on any matters of faith or to get between a pastor and their parishioners. Like heck.
Yeah.
Okay?
Whoa.
We don't want their sermons. We want the instructions on the petition process.
Oh.
Okay? So what they're doing here is splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Which is why our guys are saying, I'm not telling you who to vote for.
Exactly.
That's why this was germane to what we were discussing.
Yes.
They're not saying, they're not.
Well, they're not supposed to tell you who to vote for.
And you and I both know that in a world gone by, they used to.
Yes.
Okay? And I mean, if you really wanted to push that issue, they probably still could under the church and state thing. But you still can't. You can't say you're one thing and then do this.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't say there's a separation of church and state when it favors you.
When it fits you, yeah. Yeah.
And then not when it's something like this. You can't, if they were criticizing her for some reason,
Yeah.
which I'm sure has something to do other than her being a gay mayor, okay, because the thing with equal rights now is this equal rights thing has gotten out of proportion. So, and that's what's happening. Things are getting a little out of proportion, and we've got to just, and again, civil rights in the 60s got out of proportion too.
Yeah.
And it took a little time to, roll everything.
Even itself out, yeah.
But you don't go and you don't go and subpoena
Whoa.
sermons to get the information you want.
Jeez.
That you can use against them. There is a law against this somewhere.
Yeah.
There's also an amendment to the Constitution.
I think it's not even I think, it's like the very first one.
Yes, exactly.
Everybody has freedom of speech.
Again, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. This country was founded on this stuff. I don't make this stuff up.
Nope.
I'm only telling you what I learned in history class.
Wow.
And, so when we started talking about that, that's why they're saying we're not telling you who to vote for. We're just telling you to bring your faith into the voting booth with you. And I don't think that is wrong. I hate these politicians. No. Here we go. Joanne's on the soapbox. Here we go. These politicians who say, I separate my faith from what I do. Then if you do, I don't want to vote for you.
Yeah.
Because your faith, no matter what it is, guides what you decide, guides your decisions, guides your actions. So I want to know who you are.
Your faith should guide your actions.
Right. I want to know who you are before I vote for you.
Yep.
So, oh gosh.
I know.
We did it. Oh God.
Well, I mean, look, I won't use any names, but look at one of the people that we have in the running that basically said, well, you have the head of the church has his belief system and I have mine.
Yep. And I have my voting power and you're not getting it.
Yeah, and you're not getting it, yes.
You ain't getting my vote now, honey, because it doesn't work for me.
No.
You're going to take that attitude. I'm not going to trust you. It's not so much the position, but the attitude. You take that attitude, and I don't trust you with anything else.
Yeah.
Because what you will not do in one, you will not do for another. You know what I mean? Again, you can't divorce these things. You are who you are because of a number of things: nature, nurture, faith.
Yep.
You are who you are because of those things. And boy, did we just blow all that up.
Okay.
Oh. Let's get back to something people actually like to listen to us do. After we do these, let's move over to the right stuff.
Yay!
And this week on The Right Stuff, we're going to talk just a little bit about the beatification of another pope.
Yes.
Be the trend right now. If we missed anybody, and we missed any other popes in the 20th century, because I think now we've kind of caught them all, except Pius XII.
Pius XII.
Pius XII is the only one, and I'm not going to go into that.
No, not doing that.
No, don't
I'm
do
waiting. I'm waiting for me to be canonized. Is what I'm waiting for. So.
Hey, me too. You know what?
Soon, Stephen.
Anybody?
I'll put your case forward to the Vatican, okay?
Yeah, but
All
you have
right.
to die first, Linda.
You have to die first.
And
Yeah.
also
That
a
was-
couple of miracles too, right? So,
No,
That
after you die.
That was a joke that was running
After
around
I
our
died.
parish.
okay.
Right after our present pastor arrived.
Uh-huh.
He would take great glee, All Saints Day, asking the school children, "What's the first prerequisite of being a saint?" And they were all going, "You have to live a good life. You have to always tell the truth. You have to be that." And he'd go, "No, no, no. You have to be dead."
Yep.
That was his big joke.
Yikes. Yeah, you do have to be dead. So, Stephen, it's going to be a while.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Anyway. Yeah.
You're going to have to leave it in her instructions after her death,
I'll leave it in my
Yeah.
instructions. Yes.
you know. But not that both both John the 23rd and Paul the 6th lived in a very extraordinary time.
Yeah, they did.
Church. And again, I think we're still in a very extraordinary time in the church, 50 some odd years later. So these beatifications and sainthoods are, duly noted and should be happening. It's just that I did not think I would live to see them.
Yeah.
Because knowing how the processes work, you don't think you're going to be able to see them. But you know what, gang? I do have to say this. Can we put Mother Teresa on the fast track?
Yeah, really.
She got the fast track all the way to beatification, but can we get her that last?
Get her that. Yes, yes.
That one I do want to see in my lifetime.
And Paul VI, I think, was probably the least touted of all the popes,
Mhm.
because John the 23rd was the council, and John Paul was forever, but
And the theology of the body and evangelization.
poor Paul VI was left with the implementation of all this that John the 23rd got started into motion.
Because he died.
The 1962 Missal isn't called the Missal of John the 23rd.
Oh.
It's called the Missal of Paul VI.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
and can you imagine the stuff he had to put up with?
Yeah, especially when he wasn't the one who started it all, and now he's got to finish it. It's like,
Yep.
hey, I'll give him sainthood just for that.
Yep.
But it was.
But I agree with you about Mother Teresa. Dear
Yeah.
Lord.
They really have to hopefully they'll get that second miracle, because any of us who saw Mother Teresa either in person or just through the medium of television and on all that, we know that that's a living saint.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Unmistakable. And even though
That's
people,
what she did with her life.
yeah, but people after she wrote, after her memoirs were published, and they said, ooh,
Yeah.
doubts.
Dark
Because she had a bad day. Yeah, she had a bad day.
No,
Yeah.
she had a few bad years, but it's still, we all live with
We
doubt.
all have doubts.
The saints are not, they're not made saints because they buy it hook, line, sinker, and nothing bothers them.
Yeah.
Just look at our saints. Augustine, let's roll that one out right away.
Yeah, roll Augustine out.
Augustine's like, yeah, Ma, I'll get to it. I'll get to it one of these days.
Lord, make me holy, but not right now.
Look at St. Paul. Knock off the horse, why don't you? He was out persecuting
Exactly.
Christians.
Exactly.
So saints are not perfect. They just live a life that we can be held up to us to strive for, because sometimes, for us to strive to be like Christ is the ultimate, but we ain't all gonna get there.
Yeah.
At least we have the saints that we can look at and say, okay, they messed up so much and yet they still got there.
They still got there, yeah.
They can do it. We can try. And that's the whole thing. Plus you have the communion of saints, which like help.
Yes, help.
Pray for me. just kind of like pray.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to have. So to see, the only thing I always have to watch these things from the Vatican afterwards, because 4:30 in the morning is not a great time for me to get up live. But I did see a bit of it, and what it was called to my attention. Watch this piece of it. Apparently at the very, very end, our Holy Father Pope Francis, venerates the altar on his way out, but he also makes the sign of the cross facing the lovely tapestry, which is a full body tapestry of Paul VI. And as the camera is panning out to show, everything, the whole panorama, all of a sudden a dove flies right by it.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, okay.
We did something right.
Yes, thank you. This is a good thing.
Cool.
So somebody said, watch that piece.
Yeah.
I love to get the, you can, if any of you who want, before any of the big Vatican liturgy, they put them online now in PDF form.
Oh.
Yes, they're in English, Latin, Italian, but you can see the actual ritual.
Cool.
So you just got to go to Vatican.va, and or if you have the Pope app,
Yes.
or if you subscribe to Catholic News Service, CNS, they will put those things out. They may look funny, they may be in Italian, but they do put them out for those of us liturgist nerds who have everything and want to keep everything. And the beatification actually happens right at the beginning of Mass.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's after only sacraments happen mostly after the homilies. Throw anything to do with other sacraments. But these kind of things happen in the beginning. So if you don't want to watch the whole Mass and you want to at least see the beatification ceremony, it is in the very beginning. So if you get a chance, please watch it. But here we have another one on the road to sainthood.
All right, Paul.
And I don't have a song that goes with
the road
that.
to sainthood.
No, I do have. I could have found the road to Morocco, but
Yeah.
the road to sainthood. All right, we're gonna move down to our section on Catholics in the news and pop culture called "What's the Buzz?" And if you've been living under a rock the last 2 weeks, you have no idea that there's been a synod going on. And I will preface all of this by saying, and I did not pay attention to it purposely.
Yeah.
Because what came to be happened,
Yeah.
which was everybody got their shorts in a knot over everything they heard that came out of the synod in little tiny sound bites. And then when the final paper was put out, which is not the final paper, because this whole thing goes on for another year,
Yeah.
they got their knickers in a knot again.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to say is read the paper, the preliminary paper that came out on your own. Wait a year, because they're going to be still listening and praying and dialoguing and doing all that. And next year, when they all get together and do this again, wait until they're done.
Yes.
Because I mean, just the news commentators. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh no,
Yeah.
it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. Yeah.
Folks, and people were getting upset, and cardinals were getting upset, and bishops were getting upset with each other. We've always had that.
Yeah.
Every one of our councils has had that. They just haven't had
It's
21st century technology.
Right. I was going to say, think of think of like Vatican II if we had the internet.
Oh, Mom!
Holy smokes!
Yeah, I mean, they would have said they were killing each other.
Yeah.
I think it's just unfortunate that the polarization is so
Yeah.
put out there. You know.
So yeah.
A house divided.
Yes.
I don't know how many times I can say that. A house divided falls.
Yeah.
And if we continue as Catholics to keep dividing ourselves up into, well, Paul talked about it. Are you part of Paul's camp? Are you part of?
Yeah. Yes. Silvana. Yeah. You are. But I belong to Paul. I belong to Apollos. I belong to Christ. Well, what? Yeah.
You know, we all got to fall. But look, we're not all going to understand or like or agree, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is our church. This is our faith. You know, and if we're proud to profess it,
And we're proud to profess it in Christ.
you know, then let's be at least united. And what do you always say? If we can't unify, then let's not vilify.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you two. Steve, you were really paying attention to this.
Well, no, I wasn't paying attention to the
Or did
Senate.
you
I was
take
paying to all the commentary that was put forth on
What's going
Facebook
on. Yeah.
and in
That's
the blogs.
Okay.
Do
'cause
you am I allowed to name a specific thing or no? Is that a bad idea?
at your peril.
At your peril, go.
Oh well.
Well, look.
What,
Go ahead.
no.
Go ahead.
One of the reporters is that it's that church militant.
Oh,
Is it
I
Michael
don't.
Voris?
Yeah, he's on the cutting edge of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Um,
diplomatic.
How's that?
I-
How's that? He's on the cutting
Yeah,
edge of
it-
different.
you know, it's I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna say he didn't have some points, but it's just such a sharp delivery of some stuff, you know. So,
Yeah.
but
I think
I
everybody-
I didn't pay attention to what the documents were and things like that, and you know what was leaked and who said what,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I was just taken aback at some of the posts that I had seen online from different clergy and lay people alike. You know? And I mean,
Yeah.
if we have camps in Rome, you know, we certainly have a lot around here too, as we all know.
I was going to say, we shouldn't be surprised to have them here if
No.
if they're having them in Rome.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
It's, you know, without getting into particulars, and I'm not sure that's what our audience wants, but it's just very disheartening.
Yeah.
As you know, and I'll be very, very transparently honest. As a Catholic, it is very disheartening to see all of this playing itself out in public.
Yes.
And I think what it does to our neighbors who are not Catholic and to those Catholics who have run from our church for whatever reasons they had, it gives the old, oh, look at them.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know how to keep their house, so, you know, who would want to follow them? The Catholic Church is dying. The whole, you sit there and you go, the Catholic
No.
Church has been through so much, it is not dying
Yeah.
at all.
Like you said, back in apostolic times, this was going on.
Yeah, so let's just all be St. Nicholas and go beat up on another bishop. You know, then and,
no, did you see that story?
Yeah.
He hauled off and punched him or something. Yeah, yeah.
let's go beat up on another bishop.
Yeah.
And just, you know, be done with it. And that was how, and I think that was for some heresy. And you know, if the councils were full of these types of things, and men settled them differently in the other ages. And if you didn't think you think they all sat around with halos on their heads, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Really.
Right.
You know, so
I just think, you know, the bottom line is I think the Pope knows what he's doing.
yep, I agree. I agree.
And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he said, all right, everybody get out, you know,
Yeah.
and he must have been like, oh, Lord have mercy,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Oh, yeah. So for right now, if you should do a little bit of praying for this over the next year, but basically you should just
Let it go.
let it go, yeah.
Can't hold it back.
'Cause-
yeah, just
yeah.
let it go. Okay,
Yeah.
just let it go at this point, and be about the business of the church.
Yeah.
Not worry so much about the business of the church.
Yeah.
Okay, be about its business, not about its underpinnings. And with that, I'm going to
Are
call.
we done?
I think we
Yeah.
are. That kind of finishes us for this week.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to send us feedback, and boy, you've got enough stuff to send us
Got
feedback.
enough fodder for feedback.
A lot of fodder for feedback, yes. The comment box on MondayMorningCatholic.net. You can email us, Gmail, MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. You can put it up on the Facebook page, and you notice no one did put it up on our Facebook page. They all went for everybody else's Facebook pages because they knew Joanne was going to say,
Yeah.
or call our lovely feedback line at 774-955-0659. We want your feedback, we want your comments, because we really like doing this, and we like doing, we do it all.
We're glad that you like it too.
Yes, we're glad that you do like it too. So thank you so much for being with us again this week. Tell your friends about us. Write lovely things about us on iTunes so we can get better ratings. I haven't said that much, but please do. It'll help us a lot. And come back next week and be with us again as we look back at some more homilies and some more things that are happening in our church. For Linda Reed, Stephen Romano, and myself, Joanne Mercier, thanks very much, and ciao for now.